Most students fail IMAT exam not because they are not smart, but because they are making same mistakes again and again. And because I have sat into these kind of medical entrance exams multiple times, so I know all the tricks, all the traps that IMAT uses to second guess yourself. And in the end, I cleared it, and so can you. So I will be explaining all the things that separates out the students that cleared IMAT from the students who don't. So I will be telling you five most common IMAT examples that most students make, and the third one is going to be the most important one. So watch the video until the end. Okay, so let me be clear with you for a second. I didn't clear all the exams that I sat on. Like I have failed so many medical entrance exams, and while from all the experience that I learned from these kind of exams, there was a pattern that I saw from these exams. Like these exams were not that difficult. The syllabus was finite. The knowledge was also finite. The thing was that I thought that I could memorize and practice through all the exams. Like if I study a lot of books, if I practice a lot, then maybe I will clear the exam. But that was not a complete reality. The thing was that I was lacking a proper strategy, and the exams syllabus is finite, but the traps and the things that can harm your preparations are infinite, and that is actual really the truth about these kind of exams. Maybe you can prepare and study for 8 hours straight, and then you go to the exam and you mark the wrong option. So there are so many things that you have to avoid rather than just studying 8 hours a day. Like if you think that if you can clear an competitive exam just by studying 8 hours a day and doing practice, then you are on the wrong lane. Because from my experience, these kind of competitive exams are not about how much you are studying, but how strategic you are and how efficient you are while you are studying. So you need to make a proper roadmap, you need a proper strategy, and you have to be really efficient about what you are studying. Because most of the students avoid these kind of mistakes, so I don't want you to make those mistakes that these students are making, and you can clear your IMAT exam. The truth about IMAT that no one tells you about is that it's pretty clearable. Like it's not that hard as compared to NEET and MCAT and other medical entrance exams. The syllabus is short, the timing is perfect, but the exam is not about knowledge, but it's about testing your strategies and your thinking abilities. So you have to be keeping in mind that this exam is not about how much you are studying, but about how you are studying. So the first mistake that most students make in this exam is that they try to treat this exam as a memory exam. Like they think if they memorize some facts in biology, some definitions and some examples, then they are good to go. But that's actually a lie. You are lying to yourself, you are lying to your preparation. So the first thing that you have to understand is that you have to properly understand the concept. I am a really big fan of visualization. Like if you are studying like the structure of heart, the pumping of heart, how inhalation and exhalation of air happens in your lungs, then try to visualize that process. Like how does the chambers of heart pump, and where does the blood flows, how it goes into the lungs, how it comes back to your body. So when you try to visualize those processes, then you will have like really good memory, and you won't be able to forget that even if you try to forget those kind of things. Because we as humans, we are really good visual learners. Because if there is something that you have learned visually, then it is really high chance that you won't be forgetting that knowledge. And the next thing is that you have to understand the whole concept, not just memorize it. Like for example, if there is a definition about biochemistry and you just memorize what is esterification, if you don't know the details about esterification, how it happened, why is it happening, and why is it happening in the first place, then you don't understand the basics of the whole topic. So first try to understand the basics of the whole topic. Once you know the logic behind the topic, then you are good to go for the IMAT exam. The second most biggest mistake that most students make is that they ignore the negative marking part, because they are used to their national medical exams like MD-CAT and NEET. These kind of exams don't have negative marking. Like most of the exams don't have negative marking, but IMAT has a negative marking, and for solving these kind of exams, you have to be really strategic. Like for example, if you are solving a question and you need 5 marks to achieve your specific university. For example, if you are applying to Federico 2 and you need 65 marks to get into Federico 2, and right now you calculated your marks and you are on 60 marks, so definitely you should be taking a risk for minus 0.4 marks, because if you leave the exam you are still not going to get into your university. But if you fill out the remaining MCQs, there is a chance that you might get into your dream university. So this is called calculated risk. So there is chances and places in which you don't have to take the risk. For example, you already got 68 marks, like you are really confident that out of these 68 marks you are definitely going to get like at least 66 or 67, but you still take the risk and mark two extra MCQs, then you are risking your seat. Your, for example, if you wanted 65 marks, you already have sold the exam for 68 marks, and now you are risking your seat because you want extra marks. Bro, you want to go to your dream university, you don't have to top the IMAT exam. You are not sitting in that exam to top the exam, but you are sitting in that exam to go to your specific university. For example, if you are targeting Bologna, then obviously you want to like attempt almost all questions because your targeted university is really high ranking. But if you are choosing a low ranking university, then you should be knowing that if the last year's cutoff was 60, then scoring a 70 is a really good option. But if you try to score 80 plus and your university is falling in cutoff about 60, then you are risking your seat. Like, I am telling you, don't do this kind of mistake, because this paper contains negative marking, and negative marking is a hell of a dog. Right? Because if you do uh, calculated risk, then calculated risk will help you a lot in this exam. And I will be making these kind of videos a lot, and I might make a whole video about how you have to attempt the IMAT exam. If you want this kind of video, then tell me in the comments, and I might make it before this year's IMAT. The third and the most common mistake that almost 90% students make is that they neglect the part for logical reasoning and comprehension and the mathematics part, because most of the students have a background from sciences and biology, so they try to give almost all of their time towards biology, physics and chemistry, and because they are already aware with these kind of subjects, and logical and mathematics are like new to them, so they try to avoid it because they think like if they get a really good score in biophysics chemistry, then the score from logical and physics can be compensated. But that is a big mistake, I'm telling you, because logical and reading comprehension is not that hard. Believe me, logical and comprehension has a really good high marks ratio. I personally scored full marks in logical and comprehension. So these kind of questions are not that hard. You just have to know the basic prerequisites, how to solve these questions, the proper strategies, and if you know the knowledge, and like these kind of questions are good to go. The exception is for general knowledge. Like general knowledge contains 1 to 2 MCQs every year, and it is highly unpredictable. Like you cannot prepare for general knowledge, so it's better to leave this subject. But you have to prepare for logical reasoning, and the second part is mathematics. Like most of the students are from biology background, so they are really afraid of mathematics part. So mathematics is not that hard if you practice mathematics in a strategical way. Like there are specific topics and specific concepts that are repeating every single year. So if you can analyze all the past papers, and if you can analyze the recent trends that IMAT is following, then you can practically predict the maths exam. Like I have predicted the exam so many times, so you can predict the mathematics part too. So don't have to study all the mathematical books. Like if you open up your high scale mathematics books and start doing all the questions that there it is, like mathematics only have 6 questions, so you don't have to go all in. You just have to practice the specific concepts and definitions that I might ask about, and then just practice those type of questions. a lot. Like maybe you can give 1 to 2 days per week to mathematics and logical, and the other remaining days can go to biophysics and chemistry, because biology contains the major portion, so you can give the major time to biology part. The fourth most common mistake that most students make is that they start solving past papers really late. Like they start solving past papers maybe in the last month, and that is like a big pressure for them, because solving past paper is like telling yourself how the exam is going to be about. The first thing that I do when I am preparing for any kind of exam is that first of all I will get the recent past paper of that exam. For example, if I was going to appear for IMAT 2027, then I would just get our exam for IMAT 2026, and then I will just analyze the whole exam, what kind of questions are being asked in biology, from which chapters, from which topics, and then I know that like these kind of statements, that these are the options, and how the paper setter is making the exam. And after I have analyzed everything, then now I know how I am going to be preparing for this kind of exam. Like for example, if you are preparing for IMAT and you haven't analyzed the past papers, then you will be preparing for IMAT just like your high school or your NEET exam or your MCATs. So IMAT is different from these kind of exams, so you need a specific and unique strategy for IMAT too. So don't treat IMAT as something that is like other exams, because every exam is unique. So the first thing that you have to do is, before preparing an exam, start with the past papers. Start studying all the past papers, that as many past papers as you can. And while you are preparing, do past papers with every chapter. For example, if you are doing chemistry, then solve the past papers for chemistry. You are doing acid and base, solve all the questions in IMAT about acid and base, and then you will understand like, yeah, that's how the questions are being asked, and that's how I have to prepare this topic or this chapter. So this, in this way, your preparation will be like, if you are from 50, then you will jump in on to 60 to 70 in this following this step only. Like, I'm not even kidding, just solving the past papers and analyzing the exam will jump your score like by 20 to 25 marks. I'm not even kidding, I'm absolutely sure about this point. And the last mistake that most students make is that they have no proper strategy and no proper roadmap. Like they are just studying about IMAT blindly. They are just moving forward. Like now, first thing they are studying is biology. Now they are studying mathematics, and now they are studying physics randomly. You have to make a proper roadmap, proper strategy. Like there is a roadmap I have given to you for free. You can use that roadmap if you want to. And by using these kind of roadmaps, you know, like these are the specific topics, these are the specific chapters, and I have to study this in that specific week. And when you break down all the chapters and all the syllabus into roadmaps and into levels, then you will be able to study more efficiently. Because many students fail because they rely on motivation and not on systems. You have to create specific systems to study about these kind of exams, because motivation comes and then goes. Now you are studying like 8 hours a day, and next day you are not even studying for 1 hour. So the problem is not about motivation, because motivation comes and go. You have to be disciplined. You have to create a disciplined personality, a person that does not care about motivation at all. Like you have to complete this chapter today. You have to study bioenergetics, then you have to complete this chapter today. If you have to complete chemistry until the next month, then you have to complete it. Other things are just necessary. All of the things that is preventing you from uh, preparing for IMAT is just a distraction. Like anything that is coming in your way that is distracting you from your preparation is a distraction. It can be your relationships, it can be your girlfriend, it can be your friends, it can be party, it can be anything. Okay, so anything that is distracting you, the biggest distraction that most students have these days is your mobile phone, like the thing that is you are holding in your hand. So try to avoid this little gadget as much as you can. I used to switch down my mobile phone and just, you know, put it in another floor. Like if I'm studying on first floor, the mobile is on the second floor. If I'm studying on second floor, the mobile is in the first floor. So I would study using my book and my notes, and I would never ever use mobile phone when I am studying. uh, the exception is if I am solving any mocks or I'm taking any lectures, or I'm doing past papers, because I will be using obviously technology to study. But then I bought a laptop, then I started studying on my laptop. So what actually works, and what are the things that actually worked for the students that I have guided? The number one thing was like about studying biology. Like, I always tell students to prioritize biology because it contains the most amount of marks. The second thing was about solving past paper exams every week. Like, I give my students past paper every single week, and I tell them to solve this mock exam in a whole day. Like, one single day is just for past paper. The Sunday is used for solving a full length past paper. It will teach them how to complete a full mock exam, how to manage their time, what concepts that they are weak in, like how many marks they are getting in chemistry, how many they are getting in physics, in mathematics, which is their weak area, and what is the thing that they have to improve. Like, solving a past paper mock exam every week is a golden thing to do. So last thing is that you have to track your mistakes. You have to know that these are the things that I got wrong during my mock exam. These are the mistakes that I got during my chapter wise box, and these are the mistakes that I don't have to repeat, because 99.99999% students repeat the same mistakes again and again. They don't actually know what are their weak topics, what are their weak chapters, what are their weak subjects. Like, if someone asks you what is the most fearful subject, you will be saying like math is the most fearful subject, and then you solve the mock exam, and then you're like, oh my god, I didn't knew that I was so bad at chemistry. Yeah, obviously you didn't know, because you never solved a full mock exam in your whole life. Now, the first thing that you did was you solved a full past paper, and then after you solved a full length mock exam, now you know that you are weak in chemistry, you are weak in physics numericals. These are the topics that you are weak in, and then you write them down in your book, just like I used to do. I used to write down the chapters I'm weak in, the topics I'm weak in, and the specific MCQs that I got wrong. I would write down all the MCQs that I got wrong in this book, and I used to study this book 2 times a day. Like, the first thing I did in the morning was that I would wake up and study all my mistakes, and then before going to my bed, I would study this mistake book again, so that I don't ever repeat those mistakes, because all the past papers that I did had a mistake book that I used to revise again and again. Now I want to say something, that I learned all of these things in the hard way. I learned from a lot of trial and errors, and what actually works and moves the needle. So I thought maybe, like, I went through all of that, and I don't want all other students to go through the same. So I created a IMAT Mentorship Program, and in that program I give the students all the roadmap, all the guidance that they need, the lectures, the video lectures, the mock exams. I provide them with the whole process, the whole system that they need to clear the IMAT exam. So if you are interested, you can check out the link in the description. I'm really selective about the students that I study with, and I just don't take any student because I just don't want to take their money, because I actually want students to succeed, and I try to help them. So if you think that it feels right to you, you can reach out to us by the link in the description. Look, IMAT is clearable. It is not just a monster. So you have to just approach the exam in the right way, study the exam in with a proper strategy. Don't miss out the traps that I talked about. And if you need guidance about anything, you know where to find me. And if this video helped you even a little bit, you can hit the like button and subscribe. I will keep making this kind of content to help all the IMAT students. If you still have any problem, you can write it down in the comment. I read all of the comments, and good luck, you can do this.